Can everyone hear me?
No. Yes.
Okay. The stream is live, or should be. It didn't bug out last time, and I think I figured out that it was user error.
There's a chat for the channel, the voice channel.
I don't remember how to do the ping for the event.
It already did.
Oh, I did?
Cool.
Cool.
I started it.
Cool.
Didn't do like an update.
Yeah, I was gonna do one for We Are Now Live. Give me 1 second. Okay. Ping done. Now, you know what would actually help? Is if I actually pulled up our notes for it.
Maybe.
It might be helpful. Just might be. Alright, I guess now it's time to show off my face. Okay, good. Chat is working as well. I'm very unprepared for the fact that nothing technical difficulty-wise has started yet. It feels like something should have gone wrong. It'll go wrong halfway through. We know that. Well, everyone grab your snacks and drinks and we'll get started in just a second. Okay, so welcome everyone to our monthly community meeting. Thank you for joining us. We are live currently on YouTube. I will remind anyone in the YouTube chat that we will still only be answering questions that are posted in our Discord channel, but we will also have notes available as well for people who either aren't able to view YouTube or want to view them afterwards anyway. Chat is already out of control, talking about things I don't understand. So, our first announcement to make is just, as always, Netherite is still a work in progress. Many things are still being balanced and worked on, and are subject to change. The entire staff team thanks you all for your patience while we work on things. we have a few little kind of updates / reminders and a few pre-submitted questions, and then we will open the questions channel. Actually, I mean, we'll probably open the questions channel when I start answering the pre-submitted questions, because we only had 4, which I was pleasantly surprised about. Not that it matters what number of questions you guys put in, it's just, it was easier to come up with answers to 4 questions than 20. Alright, so, first thing I want to touch upon is, obviously, for anyone who hasn't heard yet, we have in fact released a resource map for everyone to enjoy. Many of you have had a lot of questions and comments regarding the exploration, and in particular searching for specific features, including but not limited to the deep, dark, and ancient cities. Now, in chat, many times now, staff has answered the questions about them, but I would like to reiterate that we will not be spoiling details of what is or what is not available on the map at this time. So this falls under kind of our general policy where we don't like to spoil all the details or secrets of any new content, like events. We don't tell you every last little thing all of the time, and same kind of policy applies here. The entire point of the resource map, beyond gathering of materials, is exploration. So while we understand the desire to find all of the things, please know that continually asking will not change our position or our answer. We know that people are excited, and we know that sometimes this excitement also comes out as a little bit overzealousness. And I don't want to say that you guys can't be happy or excited or anything like that, but continually asking the same question over and over again does tend to grate on the nerves. And I think everyone understands that to a degree, but something I felt was worth mentioning. And, well, also, yes, Resource World, totally the point is wanton destruction. Just destroy everything. Send Goo in there and let her dig to her heart's content. The other thing that I would like to bring up is regarding, it's happened also because of the overzealousness of questions, but it also just happens occasionally as a whole. I'd like to talk for a moment about some situations that have occurred in public chats recently. Staff as a whole just would like to remind you guys that we're a community, and that staff is here to work with you and for you to bring fun content to a game we all enjoy playing together. We do all of this for you, for you guys, for the community. We can't promise changes to things, but we do want to hear your opinions about the content. Whether it's frustrated, upset, happy, we want to hear it. But sometimes people do take this a little bit too far, or don't stop to realize how they're coming across. If you're frustrated or upset at something that a staff member says or does, it is always encouraged to reach out to that staff member or the admins or management to have, hopefully, a calm discussion. And I, in fact, highly encourage that, especially if you're feeling frustrated or like someone's not really hearing you. Sometimes it's easier to talk about things in a more private setting because you can try to word better. Sometimes not everyone's good at text. We understand that. So I also will be more than willing to voice chat with people if that's something that's easier for them. But I would also like to make note that there is a big difference between straight out criticism and constructive criticism. So while I still want to hear what you guys have to say all of the time. I want to know what you guys think about the things that we release, about the things that we do. Saying something like, this is bad, or this stinks. Good to know that you feel that way, but it doesn't really help us. And that's kind of the big difference to take there. Constructive criticism usually has some sort of at least logical reasoning behind it. And maybe your reasoning only makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't make sense to everyone, but it's still a reason. So if you think something is bad, I still would like you guys to give us a reason why. And like I said, we can't promise changes, but knowing the reasonings why people are upset about certain things or don't like certain content, that helps us to refine things better at the very bare minimum in the future, even if we're not making an active change to something that's already out. And there is also a difference between constructive criticism and being disrespectful. There are a few people over the years in general who have been disrespectful in their attempts to air their frustration. Insulting, harassing, and being disrespectful to the staff is not the way to have your voice heard. Even if you feel like we're not listening to you, I do apologize if you feel that way, but having a more kind of open and calmer discussion about it instead of just spouting off in anger is always going to be a better way to go. Even if you need to take some time and calm down before you can reapproach it like that. I always want you guys to feel like you can come to me and talk to me. I do not try to be a rude person. I do not try to not listen. I want to listen. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, and I know I'm not the only one who feels like that. So I don't want you guys to be afraid to come to us, but also just remember to, when you're going to talk to someone, when you're wanting to talk to someone, if they come at you in anger and frustration and start insulting you, you would be a little bit miffed at the bare minimum, more than likely. So just remember to treat people like you want to be treated as well. And hopefully it will that would make things a lot easier for the entire community, not just staff. And I know that there are people, a lot of people have issues with phrasing things. I, for one, tend to stop and think and overthink. I have anxiety, so when I go to tell someone something, I actually prefer text because I can stop, read what I'm writing, delete it 14 times until I'm happy with it. But that's how I work. Not everyone works the same way. And I understand that. So just try to remember to be as respectful as you want to be treated as well when dealing with any person, not just staff. I just felt that was a good general reminder to get out of the way, because I know sometimes tensions get a little high when everyone's hyped up about things. So, all right. Now that I've covered those topics, I'm also going to say that the first one that I covered means I will not be answering any questions on whether or not the deep dark is in the map or not, because we've answered that question. We've answered that question as we're not going to tell you. So the answer is we are not going to tell you. I'm sorry if that is not a satisfactory answer to people, but that is the answer. So. I apologize if anyone just heard that burp. Excuse me. So we have a few pre-submitted questions that I'm going to discuss, and I think we can probably open the meeting questions channel while I discuss those so that copying and pasting is easier. Let me... I forget how to Discord. Thank you, yeah. Okay, so, pre-submitted questions. And again, when questions are phrased in a huge paragraph of either the question or the details, we tend to boil them down to the base point. But we do appreciate the details. It is always good to know the reasoning, sometimes why people are asking particular questions or things like that. It can be helpful in knowing what answer you guys are actually looking for if the question's a little vague too. So, question number 1. Can you make an option to buy multiple mystery keys at once on the web store? So, I've discussed this a few times. The mystery package came about as a way to allow a pay what you want to help support the server option that also abided by Mojang's EULA, which requires us to give you an in-game reward. The kind of and that kind of spawned us doing multiple different options as like a fun way to not have to buy the same. For people who wanted to do more support, they could try to collect different items. That sort of just spawned off of that. We're not allowed to just have a donation option without a in-game reward because of the way the EULA works. So, and we are unable to offer a way to get multiple keys at once while still giving the option to pay the price you want to donate to the server. So we appreciate the enthusiasm for the mystery items, but for the time being, since the mystery package is still intended to be used as our pay what you want donation option, we will not be offering a multiple key package of any kind. And I will also say, if anyone does have further questions about this kind of thing, you can totally come ask any of the admins, really, if you want more information. Pretty much anything to do with the store, you can always ask the admins about if you're either curious or having issues. So, and yes, I realize for those who want to buy enough keys to get all of the items, it does get annoying to have to buy like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or not different packages. I get that, but we're still limited by what we can do.
Well, e-store issues you can ticket.
That's true too. Also, if you do have an e-store issue, you can in fact ticket.
Reminder that we are sending mail to players regarding tickets right now.
Oh yeah, should have actually included that in the updates. I'll add that after the fact, but for the time being, our ticket system is a little bit broken, so players can't actually see your tickets, but we do see your tickets. We can see them, we can work on them, and for the time being, we're going to be either messaging you in-game or contacting you via Discord if we need more information. So if you haven't heard anything back and you know you put in a ticket, after a few days, feel free to reach out to a staff member.
And check mail.
And Volk, you can absolutely pop that into questions. I don't mind going over it. I just don't want to lose the flow of where I am. So, question. Can you start making something like a list of patch notes whenever there is a content update? So we do already release notes of fixes and updates via /news and the news channel here on the public Discord. So you can always check those out for the latest updates on the server itself and on things that are going on. Sitting down and writing out more detailed kind of patch notes is probably not something that would be easy for us to do at this particular point, because most of the time the details that we give you in the news is pretty much what we have to give you. So though we don't call them patch notes, that is our patch notes. So that's where you can find them. And I hope that answers your question. And yes, we are aware that occasionally they don't get pushed out as quickly as we should. We're working on that. It happens. Things get busy, unfortunately, sometimes. Next question. Is there an entity limit in the resource world like Netherite? As the resource map is a custom biomed world, many of the biomes also may have custom rules in terms of entity spawn rates. So this means that the limits should be higher than our main Netherite map. However, we would highly encourage players to not overpopulate an area on purpose to test the limits, or worse, and anyone found doing so is likely to be warned based on the severity of the situation. So the example an example to this would be, it's fine to go maybe even breed things because you want to kill some animals, but don't deliberately try to overbreed, make huge things on the Netherite on the resource world map with the intention of lagging or crashing people. Don't go overboard. I don't want to have to hand out warnings for people breeding pigs, but if you go too crazy, that's where we're going to end up.
If the server goes crazy, then it's okay. But
well, yeah, as long as you didn't deliberately do something, it's different. Like, if the server itself has an issue, that's something you guys can't control, but...
You can laugh, though.
But you guys understand my point. And if you have questions about that and about, what's reasonable, we can discuss that further. I could absolutely help give some advice on that, but I don't want to give too many specifics and get into a entire discussion on sheep farms or chicken farms or what have you. Question. Will we see player-submitted contests for item designs, music boxes, and glamours, etc. in the future? So, I can't give any definite dates or details as of yet, but we would definitely enjoy involving the community in more contests, more fun games or challenges. If you have suggestions on things to do along these lines, please feel free to make suggestions to our Reddit, of course. We're also interested in if people want to run community events and you would like some assistance from staff, don't hesitate to reach out. We can, depending on the event, we can definitely see what we can do. I'd like to start hosting a little streaming of hide and seek contests downtown. I think that'd be fun. I'll never find everyone, but it'd be fun to watch me try. But yeah, basically, we'd love to do more community event types of things. But we're not, we don't have any specific definite plans at this particular moment in time. But I would definitely be interested in contests that aren't just card drawing contests as I do still like those, but I'd love to see some more kind of creative contests as well that encourage other skills too. Like, I remember that Halloween skin contest that happened a long time ago. That would be fun, or something similar like that could possibly be done too. You know, fun things. Would love to do more. Okay. I think that was the end of the pre-submitted questions. So, hold on 1 second. Don't scarf down food and then drink a bunch of soda right afterwards if you don't want to be burping. That's my piece of random unsolicited advice today. Question. Will we have hostile mob spawn increase? Some people are looking for certain hostile mob drops, such as gunpowder, for various reasons, such as potions, rockets, etc. The low spawns make it tricky, if not difficult, to get a hold of said materials. So, we don't have any plans at this moment in time, specifically to raise mob spawn rates in... I assume you're speaking of the resource world, but even in general. The only thing that I can explain here for mob rates is if there's a bunch of people on a server, there's still only like a certain amount of mobs generally that'll spawn. So if a whole bunch of people are on, it gets kind of spread out between players, so it may look lower than you would expect in, say, single player or even on a smaller server if you have a bunch of people all at once. Because mobs spawn, you know, near players. Hopefully most people know how that functions with vanilla mechanics, but I don't expect everyone is an expert on every little last detail of Minecraft. So, honestly, at the moment, the only thing I could suggest is trying to log in where player count is lower. Might help you see more of the spawns, but really, realistically, there's no plan to increase it at this point in time. Okay, sorry. I was waiting to give note takers a minute because there was like 3 people typing all at once, and I have trouble following when the sentences are moving while I'm trying to read them. Okay, so next question is why was carpet disabled, and do you know for certain if they will return? Time frame doesn't really matter to me. I'm just curious why it was removed in the first place. So there was a bug that was occurring with carpet, mostly when crossing between worlds, such as Netherite to the resource world. As such, it's been temporarily disabled until we can fix this issue and configure it so that it will hopefully stop occurring. But the intention is for it to be a temporary fix, a temporary disabled. It's not gone at this point in time. We just don't have a timeline on when the fix may happen. But it is supposed to be temporary. Okay. Next question. I'm sorry if this has been asked in the past. When the new system is introduced, will all the old items just be outdated and no longer useful outside of the vanilla enchants, or will the special ones like PT gear and exotics be replaced? So, you're not going to like my answer, because the unfortunate base point is I don't know. We are still sorting out the details of what's going to be used and what can be remade and what can be replaced. I would say there's probably a few that are like easy to say that we could more than likely replace if we can redo them, and that would be, you know, like the power pick. Probably something we could easily offer a replacement for. Whereas other stuff, it will kind of depend on how the entire rework of our RPG systems actually lay out. So unfortunately, I don't have any details for possible compensation on what or how or who yet. When we have any updates on that, we will definitely put it in news. More than likely, it'll be an announcement. But yeah, as soon as we have details for you, we will gladly be able to share them. But at this point in time, we just do not have the details yet for you. Okay. Question. Can the carpet spell be worked to where the higher you go, the less mana it takes? That is, if carpet not using mana anymore is unintentional. Details, huge builds, like 200 blocks tall, are amazing, and would be nice to still be able to reach the top without falling and splatting, since not done with it. Now, I'm just going to interrupt for a minute, because the idea of watching someone carpet up only to fall to their death is still somewhat amusing. But I understand that that would be absolutely annoying when you're trying to build. But I don't have any details on how carpet may be reconfigured at this point in time. We can look into the mana cost, but I can't make any promises at this particular point in time. I'm also not entirely sure if it can be adjusted, but doesn't hurt to look into it. Okay. Yes, I also like how we accidentally made a pattern of reactions to the questions. I like using the little hamster. I should use the hamster that's not dead, honestly, but it's still cute. I just want to, while I see some people typing and meeting questions, so I'm waiting for them. But while we're doing that, I just want to take a minute and just, I want to thank the entire staff team very publicly for letting me name the hamster pet in the current Voxbox. Letting me name it Dweezil. And it being adorable. I know that the texture is a little broken in the current release of the pack. That'll get fixed. But you can see the picture in the announcements. And I love it. Also, for anybody watching the YouTube, I'm going to show off Dweezil for a minute because he's right here. This is the inspiration, our stuffed hamster Dweezil. I promised if I ever got to make an item out based on Dweezil, I would show him off, so. Praise the server hamster. Okay. He is like 21 years old and dirty. Anyway. Next question. Can we please add more leaf types to the crates system, please? So, definitely down to add more crate stuff. We've had a couple of our GMs working really awesomely hard at that. Praise to Fred for fixing a whole bunch of crates that were needed to be re-added, and he added a whole bunch more that we actually never made any sort of news or announcement post on them because I don't remember when they got pushed. But surprise, you guys had a bunch of extra crate stuff to play with. And we're looking forward to continuing to add out more crates. I actually have a list that I have to give to him of a bunch of stuff that I think would be good to crate, and that list includes magma blocks and iron bars and stuff he's gonna really hate me for, like all of the carpet.
Don't we have leaf crates for everything except mangrove?
I was about to say, I think we do. Azalea. I think we do, but wouldn't be a bad idea to add those to the woods too.
I'm like trying to think what we're missing.
But yeah, with 1.19, we haven't added any of the 1.19 stuff yet to crates like mangrove, but we can absolutely do that now that we have them. I think they disappeared for a bit and then got fixed when we had to do a whole fix, so I think that's why people may have not noticed. There's also some, in at least one or two of the menus, there's like a subsection that isn't completely obvious, so make sure you're looking through stuff. Like I think it's the ores or maybe the copper that's in a subsection. I'm trying to remember. Brain is off. But yeah, we all enjoy crates. I wish Azalea had a wood type. I don't care. Make it purple. We're gonna have a pink wood. We need a purple wood.
Did we just say that?
Yes, we did at the same time.
Same brain.
Just make it glazed magenta terracotta colored wood, right? I think I went overboard in the document with copying and pasting our question answer format, because like I put enough stuff in there for like 20 questions and then we didn't have them. But a shorter meeting, everyone would enjoy that anyway. It'd be a lot easier to watch later too. Oh, that was you. I don't know. I know I added a couple. Look, it was a lot easier to get it all set up yesterday. That's why we closed the meeting questions form a little early. Well, I said I was going to do it, but we closed it not just the day of, because it makes it a lot easier to get things set up in time for the meeting instead of me having to do it like an hour before the meeting. So that'll also probably be how we do them. It'll probably get closed like Friday or Saturday of the week so like a day or two before going forward. But okay. Question. What is the plan for Soulbound and Sentience? That's a really good question. I have no idea what the plan is, honestly. As we've said before, all of this weapons and armor and all of that stuff also falls under the RPG rework. Basically custom gear, custom items, pretty much all of that falls under it, as well as like class stuff and spells and all of that. That's why when we've been asking you guys for like suggestions on stuff that's not RPG, when you guys suggest all that stuff, it's like, it's still RPG. But, so Soulbound and Sentience, two separate issues here. So Sentience, Sentience being, customizable, weapons, tools, and gear. Not sure if we're going to be able to recreate them in a similar format. I'm not positive yet. The ones that currently exist, like actually the ones that have like the sockets on them. Sockets isn't coming back. So the ones you currently have are not going to function beyond their vanilla enchants. As for whether or not we'll be redoing them and offering replacements, still also to be determined. I know a lot of people would like us to be able to do Sentience, and I think if we are able to, we would absolutely love to be able to, but I can't promise at this time. Trust me when I say I can't promise anything. It bothers me too. I physically can't make any promises to you guys that I can't back up. I don't want to do that. And as for soulbinding things, the system that it worked off of before is, I believe, broken. There are different ways to do that kind of system, so I do think that we were still likely to have kind of soulbound gear. It may not be called soulbound, but I think it would still be something we'd like to do. But I also don't have any details on when we'd be doing that again yet either. Okay. Question. For events, can they last a bit longer if there's going to be a lot of grinding to be done to get items? Details. I know several players couldn't get everything they wanted during the last event, even after grinding daily. Any chance for gear to be unlocked through challenges instead of bought? So, we have touched upon, in a past meeting that events are likely to change somewhat. We still don't have all of the details, but ideally we may have like slightly less events, but have them be longer. I know that was an idea that we kind of floated, at least. So it's quite possible that we would have events run at least a little longer. I'm not sure as to how much longer at this point in time, but definitely something that we can quite possibly do. It does take a lot of work, especially if you have a lot of stuff to get, but there's also, I'm gonna just be completely honest here, there's something to remember that you do not have to buy every single thing in the event every year, especially if we don't necessarily change the rewards to, like, I'm all for like adding a new few things every so often too, give some people something new to go after, but if you don't manage to get everything in an event, there's the likely chance that it'll still it'll be there the next time the event comes around too. As for gear being unlocked through challenges instead of bought, maybe. It's certainly an interesting concept. I kind of like the thought of, I don't know, having you guys like do like a quest and it unlocks points for something, but I'm not sure if that would be something we could definitely do, but it's a really interesting concept in my opinion. So something to look into for sure. It all just depends on what we're physically able to do with certain plugins as well. that's part of the reason why we can't always like make definite promises, is because we have to test things and find out if they can actually do stuff before we say, oh yeah, we're going to be doing that. And then sometimes the plugins don't want to work the way we thought they were, and then sometimes we have to replace them because they don't work at all. See, harvest gear. But yeah, the harvest gear is definitely my example for that, because the plugin that we used to create the new harvest set and everything turned out to be incredibly difficult to work with. Question: can the daily reward be changed to server time instead of a 24-hour timer? Details: I really enjoy the daily reward, but I'm worried about losing a streak if I log in at different times each day. I honestly have absolutely no idea. That's sort of a can it be done in the plugin question, which would definitely be more of a GM question. So that's something we would have to look into and get back to you. My instinct is to say that the way that we set it up is probably the way that it works with the plugin, but if it's possible, we can definitely look into it. I understand not everybody logs in exactly the same time every day. Sometimes you might log in earlier and then you don't have time to come back later when it's actually up, and I get that, but I'm just not sure if we can do it. A lot of times our limitations are due to what the plugins are actually capable of. So, no promises, but we can definitely look into it. I just realized the way my webcam is on this stream, you guys can't actually see when I'm like moving my hands for emphasis. I'm like doing it down at my desk and no one can see it. They just see me like moving my head like a bobblehead doll. There, that's the word. I'm not cute, just to answer that joke question. I'm not cute. It's the freckles. It gives everyone the impression I'm cute. Oh, yeah, Navy, I totally agree. Big, absolute huge shout out to everyone who works staff-wise, especially those who don't get seen as much behind the scenes, like GMs and the TLs and artists and architects. Our architects work their butts off, and they do not always get enough praise. That's why every time you guys say something nice about the Resource World spawn, it's like, woo, go architects. Lots of our staff members don't get as much praise as they probably should, which is why I try to like overdo it and praise them as constantly as much as I can. The unsung heroes are the QA team, because they catch a lot of our issues. They don't catch everything, but sometimes you can't catch stuff. I still apologize for the Santa boots. Those are completely my fault. I'm just stalling while people are typing more questions. Take your time, guys. No rush. We're just explaining why I'm just babbling. I'm trying to think of something I could talk about while we wait. For anybody checking out the stream, you will hopefully recognize this picture. And as I point to the wrong side of my screen, you will hopefully recognize the picture that I'm using. It's from the Resource World Spawn, and it's really cute. My internet's been a little terrible the last couple of days, so I didn't want to push it too much by having Discord, Google Docs, a stream, and Minecraft open all at the same time, so picture. Jin is not happy. He wanted me to use a different picture, which would have been mean. But yeah, New VB, Voxelland, and the Resource World Spawn is beautiful. I have been enjoying the Resource World myself, digging out a whole bunch of terracotta and clay. Alright. Okay. Question. Any upcoming plans for events, mini or otherwise? Details. Always down to have a break from mining and building. So there are I will say it's something that's been on staff's mind. Giving you any details would be spoilers. I don't have any public details to share at this moment in time. Events do take quite a while to make function before we even release them. Harvest, as an example, took quite a while to actually get set up. We did also have a lack of hands at the time. It was mostly solely me and Burb that ended up getting it all put together. And I'm not an expert at plugins. Also, I think people have heard me mention publicly a few times that I had to set up the traders 3 different times because they kept breaking. But we do have plans to do events. I can't give you details on like when they would be happening though, because we just don't have everything like put together or ready to go. But we would definitely like to do some events this year. Let me put it that way. I think this year, and not giving you an exact amount, is probably the safest thing I can say that actually gives you something to look forward to. That's about as close as I can get to actual details. Okay. The next question: is the current end goal to have Vox looking similar to how it was before the update that broke everything? If not, what's the ideal end game? Okay, so this question is a lot to unpack, even though it seems very simple. So we don't have a specific end goal in mind, end game in mind. We always want Vox to kind of keep growing and changing as it has in the past, and to keep it going in the future. There had to be a lot of changes. There had to be a lot more changes since Zombie's passing, and with us having to merge down to one server for several reasons that we gave everybody, but managing the server as it was, and also paying for the server as it was, wasn't feasible, and all of that. Plugins that were outdated and left behind, and we can't replicate exactly what Vox used to be. However, what I'm also going to say is this would have been an issue even if Zombie had still been around. The plugins being broken would have still been an issue that we would have had to tackle. We likely would have had to change things as Vox was, with or without him. And he had many goals and ideas for how to shape Vox and to bring it forward into, like, we can call it the new era of Vox. You know, he had ideas, he had plans, which were actually merging together, was part of the plan. We accelerated the timeline when Zombie passed because of what we physically were all capable of doing, but it was still a goal of his. So we're still moving forward with the goals and the vision he had in mind. We want to be as faithful to that vision as we are physically capable of doing. And that's still our priority, is to honor him and the entire community with the choices that we make, with how we move forward together into the future. And yeah, change is part of that. Not everybody likes change, but change is part of that. If we want the server to keep growing and being fun and not just stagnating with the same content over and over and over again, things are going to change. And that does also mean that sometimes we're going to leave things behind, like sockets. You know, so things are just have to change. And there's no one particular end goal in mind, because my opinion, at least, is we're not heading to the end of Vox. There's no end of Vox in sight. We want to keep going to the future. There's no light at the end of the tunnel, because we want the tunnel to be going for a long, long time. Hopefully. And now that I've gone on a rant. So to answer the basic question, there's not an end game, but there are lots of plans and hopefully a good outlook for the future of Vox and the content that you guys all have to enjoy. Resource World was one small step towards more fun content. Okay. Question. While we can't provide a typical roadmap of what's to come, because being able to schedule things is beyond our pay grade, could we make a list of things that have been publicly announced that are coming in the future? Details. We often mention things that are planned or in the works, but because it's only mentioned in passing, people may forget about it or possibly presume it's been abandoned. Okay, so I'm not against the idea of, like, a public list of potential content or things that we definitely have planned. The problem is sometimes things do get canceled. I'm not saying everything will, I'm just saying sometimes things adjust or shift. So an actual, like, it'd probably be hard to do. I'm not against doing it, but it might be hard to actually do that. Or the list might boil down to RPG sometime, Resource World sometime, you know. But also, I'm not against the idea. I just, not sure how feasible a concept it really is, but we could. I'm not against even trying it. I'm just not sure if one more thing to remember to update is going to get forgotten, you know? I think that sounds like a project for a CM. I think that sounds like a project for Yaya, maybe. But some minor things that people may or may not know are back. Market Mail is back, by the way. Alongside Daily Bonus, Market Mail got brought back because we changed our Market plugin. Also, if you had items on the old Market, please remember to go collect them. When we shut down that plugin, your items are gone if you don't grab them. Staff expired everything that was in the current Market so that we wouldn't end up with people losing stuff. But if you don't pick them up, you will lose them. The command is in the announcement about the Market, which was the Resource World announcement. But it's a /PA space collect. Okay. Moving on. Another thought on the roadmap kind of list of publicly announced things, like, we wouldn't be against if the community wants to do it. We could, or if someone wants to volunteer to do that as well. Like, we could absolutely help support you guys too if somebody in the community wants to do it besides just a staff member. I could see that being something I'd be willing to, like, pin and help support people noticing it too, even if it's kind of like how we used to also still share that, like, community created document on the townie builds. We used to share that everywhere, even though it wasn't staff created. I think I still have a copy of it somewhere. Okay, question. Before forgot if I asked before. I collect the wind-up toys that fight each other, the heroes and villains. Any chance we can get a seller downtown for those? So, I'm going to say probably not, because if I remember correctly, most, if not all of those, were gotten via Vox boxes. So those would come from item crates, possibly events. There might have been some in events. I'm not 100% sure on that. We do want to, like, get more crates back into the economy too, including older things, but along with the fix for, like, I want to do that ideally along with, like, the fix for cards, because there's no sense to release crates that may drop cards that will then be broken. And I want to find a way to do older ones as well, not just, like, the last couple of months. I'm not really sure how we're going to do that yet either, but there is the chance that we'll be able to do older Voxbox stuff, so you'd still have a way to gather them even in-game. But a straight-up trader downtown for wind-up toys, probably not. If some of them were from events, we could maybe see about re-releasing some of the event ones at some point. But other than that, I don't think Trader Downtown is going to happen for the Voxbox one specifically. question. What do I do with all this compressed gold? Since compressed gold can't be created anymore, they also can't be reverted to normal gold blocks. I have a DC of compressed gold that I can't do anything with at the moment. Okay, so we can absolutely do something about that. Because compressed gold was basically a secondary way of storing gold, and we also have the crates, which seemed to be more popular, compressed gold basically got removed. However, if you still have compressed gold, you can absolutely tick it to get it traded back into gold blocks again, because we did kind of remove that without telling anybody. We're not going to just be like, oh, you're stuck with it. You're stuck with this yellow terracotta. No, you can get your gold back. You just have to tick it on netherite, and make sure that you have ticket where the compressed gold is, or leave it in your inventory, but also please provide the mod or admin who takes on the ticket with like an area with some chests to put it in for you, as it will obviously be decompressed into more gold blocks. We will need a place to put it for you. It probably won't fit into your whole inventory if you have a DC of it, or your wallet.
For information, someone had about a DC of them, and it was about 8 or 9 double chests of gold blocks.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it was a full 3x3 grid of gold blocks to make the stack. So
yeah, so if you tick it, just have 10 double chests of
empty space for us to put them in. But yeah, you can absolutely have your gold back. Okay, question. Lights selling villager when? Glowstone and sea lanterns are annoying to get, and I miss that old trader. So, I'm not against re-releasing, or not re-releasing, but redoing this selling villagers at some point. I'm going to probably say that that's going to get lumped into an export rework, more than likely, because that could be something that we could put at import or something, instead of having the obscene cost that they were before in the old casino building. I'd rather see us, we might still make them available for gold as well, but I think it would fall more in line with redoing export and import to add things in, or re-releasing those aquatic crates for the sea lanterns. Might be fun too, because we had an aquatic blocks crate that dropped prismarine and sea lanterns and stuff, so definitely something we'd like to do. With different block types, I'm not sure if we would definitely do them right away either, but I'd also be interested in possibly doing frog lights with them, because they are very difficult to farm. But we'll have to see. But we definitely want to see about doing things like that at some point. Oh, can we? I don't know. I haven't checked all the rewards. I don't know if we can or not.
I don't know.
Well, that is actually... Okay, to be fair, it's possible, because that was actually where you used to get them. I actually would prefer that to the crate of seeds that I just keep trashing, because I don't need more seeds. I don't need more seeds.
No, it shouldn't be a day 2.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I don't need more seeds. I really think we should put something else in the place of seed crates. Especially because for some reason the seed crates aren't even dropping pumpkins or melons for me. I don't know if it's just me, but...
We should put a stack of melons in place of it. Just a stack of melon slices.
You know what we should do is periodically we should just change up the rewards was originally intended, and probably will be done. As for the list of daily rewards, no. Yeah, but I believe Navy was keeping one. But as I may have just indicated, it may be subject to change every so often. I think it does. I don't know if it actually does. Oh, it doesn't work. Yay! Don't you love it when things don't work? Also, while I'm waiting for more people who are typing, just to, because we've been talking about like things that got released and all of that, we did update the news recently with February's news items, which includes, like Daily Bonus, Resource World, Helper Bot. I would also like to point out that we did change Lands and Nation upkeep to be paid every other day instead of every day. I don't know if anybody actually noticed that, because it's kind of hard to keep up, but what was Jin's surprise? I don't know. I don't know what Jin... I have no idea. I don't know what that is about either. The last time I got surprised by Jin, it was with Secret Santa, and he filled the box with he filled my Secret Santa box with a bunch of colors, with a bunch of different blocks, all in the color that I hate the most. It shouldn't be navy, but we can double check to make sure that something didn't accidentally get reverted. Maybe something got reverted, because the server crashes were causing issues. Hopefully won't be crashing as often, but it might have. If it's still showing daily for some people, we'll definitely take a look at it. Okay. Does anyone have any further questions they'd like to ask? I don't think we need to include that question in the notes. Just being honest. I know there's a slow mode, so if you are asking more questions, it's fine. I just wanted to know if we're waiting for anyone. I see Britta's typing, so... Hey, I'd love a nice short meeting, because my dinner has been... The smell has been wafting from the kitchen for like an hour now. I would also like to take a moment and just suggest... I know not everybody likes making suggestions to the Reddit. But that is currently the best place to get your suggestions done. I'm still working on some other potential methods for suggestions later, but they keep getting pushed off on testing and all that. But if you have suggestions for things like toys, emotes, titles, things you want to see in Vox boxes, or other things that you want to see around, even in events or other packages or things like that, please do not hesitate to make a suggestion on the Reddit. It can be very simple, like, ooh, I would like a handshake emote. Or it can be even more detailed than that, like if you have a specific text you think works well with an emote, if you're suggesting that, or something else, please feel free to give that suggestion. I can't promise that we will take it exactly word for word, because we also have to consider certain other issues, like copyright potential issues with like music boxes, or whether or not we're capable of making different songs with a music box. And also, when it comes to emotes in particular, if I think something's going to be used in an inappropriate manner, I won't use that particular text. And I know there have been a couple people who've been a little displeased with how certain emote texts have come out that they've like suggested, but if you give me actual suggestions for it, we can definitely try to incorporate them too. So just wanted to take a minute to mention that. Okay. Question. What's up with the random jump and speed boosts? It's a little bit of a bug, I believe, with lands. Usually relogging fixes it, but not really sure if there's anything more we can do about it at this point. We probably have to investigate further before we can fix it if possible. Sometimes we get these like weird persistent bugs that just stay weird and persistent. I, for one, don't personally notice most of the time because my nation has speed boost on defaultly. So, like, I don't notice the speed boost, to be honest. But I would say because it's a persistent bug, it's something that you're at the moment may just have to deal with till we fix. If it really bothers you, I suggest relogging. I get this weird issue where basically every time I teleport somewhere, after a while I start hearing this. It only happens once I've teleported, but then I start hearing this like page turning sound, like in Minecraft page turning. Every, I'd say like 2 minutes, I just hear the sound, and it's so annoying.
Magma cube squish.
You say magma cube squish, it sounds like the page turning.
That's what the subtitle says.
Yeah,
it comes
but
from teleporting.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like a magma cube to me. But still, like, that's what the subtitles say. But it's still so random and annoying because I don't want to relog every time I TP. But it's annoying. And unfortunately, we can't figure out what's causing it, so I just have to deal. But yeah. All right.
Well, players get it too. Everyone's.
Oh, they do? I thought it was just me. Yeah. I've mentioned it before and nobody's said anything. Oh.
No, it's been a thing for a while and now it's affecting everyone.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know, I actually feel kind of better about it knowing it's not just me anymore. Alright, next question was, will players get an announcement before the resource world is renewed or reset or changed? Ideally, yes. We have said that the resource world will likely be reset every few months. We haven't given an exact timeline. And that, honestly, is because it may change just slightly here and there. Like, one time it might be, like, exactly 3 months. The next time it might be, like, 3 months and a couple of days. Because it all depends on when staff has the time to actually physically do it. So, we're not going to give, like, an exact every 3 months it will reset, like, to this date. Because that's just unrealistic. But you will definitely... I would definitely like us to be able to give you an announcement, hopefully a few days before we reset it. But at the very bare minimum, I could see at least 24 hours, if not longer. And the other thing is, I would also like to just make sure to remind you guys, it is unwise to store things in the resource world. Because if it resets and your stuff is there, you are out of luck. Or if someone were to come along and take things out of your chests, you are out of luck. So I'm just making sure to make that a point. Resource world is not intended to have stuff be left and storage or anything like that. Question, which I have actually already answered this, but ETA on carpet coming back. The short answer is no ETA at this point in time. It is intended to be temporary, but it will depend on when we fix the bug that's been happening with it. And as a note, I don't really mind answering questions more than once. It's when it becomes like every player is asking me the same question every time I log in. That's when it becomes kind of annoying. Or when I know someone's asked me the question themselves before and then they just keep asking because they want a different answer. That's when it gets annoying. Question. When the resource world resets, is it going to be a brand new world generated or the same thing just started over? I don't know if we've made a decision on that, but I think the intention was for it to be a new one. But I'm not going to say I'm positive on that at this particular point in time. But my brain is trying to think, and I'm like, I think we were ideally hoping to have it be a fresh thing every time and not just the same map over and over again, but that may depend on what we're capable of doing. Because otherwise you'd know exactly where all the same stuff is every time. I'm sure someone would, if we did it the same every time, someone would just start writing down the coordinates of all the diamonds, and then nobody would be having fun. And you can't tell me. I'm pretty sure at least 50% of us here can think of at least one person on the server who would totally do that. Actually, it sounds like something I would want to do, but then I'd forget to actually do it. But that's also the thing, is the resource world is kind of like spirit of exploration, so it would definitely be fun if we had like a fresh one every time we reset it. The spawn town will stay the same. Possibly get updates, but like the spawn town will still be there. So it might still look the same on first glance, because I am not going to make the architects build a new spawn town every time. That would be insanity, and they'd quit. I would never put you through that. That would just be ridiculous. It would be different if we made the spawn town like much smaller. But because we made it big, there's just... There have already been some... So, there have already been some Easter eggs that have been shown off. One of the meetings I streamed in one of the rooms in a building in the resource spawn. Don't know if anyone's found that yet. I mean, besides the people who knew where it was. Okay, does anyone have any further questions? If you're dealing with slow mode, that's fine. Just tell me or something. Because if not, I think I'll wrap it up if nobody else has any questions that aren't jokes. Or we appreciate the how's staff doing, but that doesn't need to be an official question.
People wanted me to walk
1 plus 1 is math.
People wanted me to walk by, didn't they?
Oh, that's true. We did kind of say that you would... Your hair looks fine. We did kind of say that Jordy would pop into frame in the video.
Is everybody ready?
Wait, hold on. Okay, you'll be on this side. Yep. Also, this is for anyone who's saying you and me are the same person. Nope. Okay, I see someone typing, so we'll wait until that. And then I will give you guys till the 30. It's 5:30 for me, but and then I'll close the questions channel. So, unless someone's actively typing, I'll let you finish if you're typing, but okay. Question. Is Ruins returning? If so, will there be a revamp? Details. Would be neat to include some frozen areas to it where you take frost damage. What about frozen underwater ruins? So, I don't think we've entirely decided about that, but the way Ruins was probably would be changed if we do. We have some plans for that kind of thing. Would still also fall under like RPG stuff because it involves, you know, fighting. But we don't have any like concrete plans specifically around Ruins itself yet. I'm trying to figure out how to like explain it without it. Ruins as a concept isn't like dead, but Ruins in the form that it was would probably change. And I can't really give you more than that because, like I said, we don't have a fully like concrete plan. Because Ruins was essentially just for mob spawning, and the Dragoons, and we may incorporate them in other places or with other methods. So the stuff that you could do with Ruins will probably still be around, but whether or not it remains in a place that's called Ruins, possibly not. But we do understand still the desire to, you know, fight mobs and gather things, and for the time being, you can in fact use Resource World for that. And I know people have complained about the spawn rates, but just maybe group up and then you'll get a lot of spawn. I don't know. I have no idea. The understanding I have of vanilla spawning, mob spawning mechanics is like what I can find on Google. Okay. Why are you guys talking about dirt? Alright, I'm closing the meeting questions now. I don't see anyone typing. Oh, of course, now people are typing. Those of you that were typing, feel free to put it in voice text and I'll still answer it. If they were actual serious questions. If you were just typing to be a troll, that's one thing. I will also remind people that if you do have a question that didn't get answered or didn't occur to you during the meeting, you can absolutely still reach out to a staff member after the fact to ask questions. You can always ask staff members questions. If a particular staff member doesn't know the answer, they will probably know who to direct you to. I would say, however, the general note of disciplinary staff should be who you ask disciplinary related questions. I hope that makes sense. Development staff won't have any knowledge for you beyond the general rules if you have a disciplinary issue. If you ask Jin a disciplinary issue, he's going to just tell you, go ask the admins. He might put that not as nice as I just did, though. So, nah, Jin is nice when you're not rude. Jin is nice. Anyway, so I want to say thank you to everyone for coming to the meeting as per usual. Really appreciated having everyone here. There are now links in the meeting voice text channel, but as always, if you need to find one of our sources of information, you can also always ask. Remember, please, to post any suggestions, ideas that you have for content or anything related to the server to our Reddit. The meeting notes will be posted soonish after the meeting. Thankfully, it wasn't there weren't a ton of questions to go over, so ideally I would hope to have them by Tuesday. Hopefully. Not going to promise, but hopefully. If you would like to apply for any Vox staff position, please use either the Reddit, where we do have our staff application templates as well, but you can also apply on the Discord, in our public Discord now. There are the templates here, and you make a post following the forum, the Discord forum things. You'll find that in staff applications. If you feel like you may be interested in more than one staff position, you are absolutely allowed to apply for more than one position at the same time. We will not bring someone on for more than one position at the same time, but if you have interest in multiple areas, you are perfectly fine to do so. Currently, I would say, if anyone's curious, where we are likely looking for more hands on deck the most would likely be our CM team. So if you have any interest or talent with writing, please absolutely feel free to apply. If you want to help out Vox in a donation sort of way, please don't hesitate to check out the e-store. Get yourself some nice, fun things. Hopefully we'll be, in the future, would love to release some more smaller cost things, cosmetics, more titles maybe. You know, if you have any suggestions, feel free to, again, mention them on our Reddit. Would love to be able to give more options for those who are interested in supporting us. And as always, obviously, we have our YouTube channel where this meeting will be streamed, and the VOD should be up shortly after I end it. YouTube seems to process them a little bit faster than Twitch did. And as always, please remember, if you need assistance in game, don't hesitate to put in a ticket, but the ticket system is a little bit broken, so you will not be able to view your ticket, but a staff member can and will reach out to you for details or answers. I think I covered everything. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and stop asking me about the Deep Dark.